We want to be able to stagger some games so that way the round finishes and we don't have that much downtime. We're going straight into the second series. Thanks, Raven, by the way, as he's our chap is taking a leave. Crane is a player that really got to prominence through finishing high on ladder through Patron Warrior. Most recently, also achieving top 8 in the Spring Championship for Europe.
Yeah, also he had a good performance at PGL, so he's been around.
Definitely up and coming for a while, and we already see something unusual. I was already seeing like, well, the Fallen versus Crane should be kind of cool, but I didn't expect to see a N'Zoth Paladin.
Yeah, N'Zoth Paladin is here, and this deck just disappeared from the metagame. Like in the beginning, everybody loved it. Like in Austin, we've got so many games of this deck, and suddenly it just died.
And it's already unusual that Fallen, like he brings the Paladin, but also specifically that he's also banning Warlock, which I don't think is necessarily a bad choice, but with Warlock. And you have N'Zoth Paladin. I always thought N'Zoth Paladin did okay against Zoo Warlock.
It's not the best because, like, even when you have a Pyromancer, some imps are staying on the board, and you can get rushed. But overall, like, even if your Paladin gets killed, Zoo might be troublesome for the other decks you're bringing.
Is this lethal? With Savage Roar, 5/7. 11 plus 6 is 17. Yeah, I think he's got lethal if he Savage Roars here, right?
7 plus 4.
Oh, he's got swipe lethal as well. Okay,
yeah.
That's fine too. Same thing.
Yeah, so we hyped Paladin so much and it just died.
Okay, well, now we get to see why. Well, to be fair, the first game looks like Fallen lost with Shaman, and that was Yogg-Druid taking out Shaman, and now Yogg-Druid is taking out the Paladin, putting it just on the Warrior. And this is one of the things about last year's standing, that your strategy could all be crux on a specific condition, and if that condition is not met, like, I don't win this first game, you could get swept. A lot of times it's like 3-2 or 3-0.
Yeah, the problem is, like, you have counters, but if you basically lose the good matchup, or when you lose with your counter, you just have nothing to stop the deck that's just going through your lineup. But still, I think from Crane's perspective, this Druid is pretty good versus Shaman, I would say. And just so no surprise there that he won. And the last deck right now is Warrior, and it seems like N'Zoth Control?
At least that's what it seems like on paper. N'Zoth Control Warrior definitely saw a little bit of play, but Control Warrior's matchups recently have been...
By the way, Onyxia! There's Onyxia on the board! Not on the board, like in the hand!
Let me finish this thought real quick on Control Warrior and we'll talk about Nixia.
Sure.
So Control Warrior, a lot of people will look at it as like, well, that deck's just continuing to be around, but it's definitely fallen a little bit out of favor just because the matchups that it has, like against Hunter, is really bad, and like the match that you're good against normally, like Zoo Warlock, definitely hasn't gone there, and you also lost a lot of your tools. You don't have Shield Maiden, so what's your reliable minion that gains armor? Oh, it's Ancient Shield Bearer. Oh wait, that's a Cthulhu Warrior deck.
Yeah, that's why Cthulhu Warrior is more popular at the moment, at least on ladder. But Control Warrior is still okay as the deck. It's just a bit
like Patron Warrior. It's like okay, it's not, but you can use that Warrior slot for something better.
Exactly.
Supposedly. I mean,
Cthulhu Warrior is just better. So if you want to play a Control Warrior, you probably just pick Cthulhu.
I mean, it's better in most matchups. Some matchups, Control Warriors definitely like a little bit better too, because you have some consistent early game removals. You know, you do have like Bash and a few other things that helps you get those clean snipes on it. But Bash isn't nearly as effective as it used to be. So one thing to note too is, like you mentioned, Onyxia is starting to become pretty popular in Druid, just because Cenarius doesn't exactly feel the most reliable for accomplishing what you want. Sometimes, like, the taunts isn't exactly what you're trying to go for. You're just trying to go for, like, board presence and pressure. But even the +2/+2 buff from Cenarius isn't exactly landing consistently.
Yeah, it's mostly like you just take the 2/2 trends, and with Onyxia at least, even though it doesn't stop the damage the turn you play Onyxia, it presents a great threat on board.
This is sweet.
Think Master Overspark. It works really well with the Brawl.
Yeah, it works well with the Brawl. It also happens to deal with Concealed Gadget Sands really well, or 4-mana 7/7s. Wins you back some of that tempo that you might lose there. Especially if it gets at 1/1. If it gets to a 5/5, 7/7,
Edwin,
it's pretty good.
Edwin Van Cleef.
Yeah, precisely, man. I don't mind that. Before, when people told me, primarily Nimsh, who's sitting next to me, always tell me that Think Master is a great card to put in. I always had like a raised eyebrow, E-cop style, if you will, where I just kind of stare at him wide-eyed. But nowadays, I don't hate it. Control Warrior definitely needs some of that little edge to come back, and in a tournament, some of those tech cards might end up being the key to victory.
Definitely. And talking about the Druid a bit, because Warrior looks really fun, man. We've seen Karen and Chilmo, so probably Nizov to like bring it back.
Yep.
And we've seen Nizov Warrior before from Fibonacci and a couple of other players, but this Druid has a really interesting opening, which he's setting up Fandral. Can he like Fandral this turn with Innervate? Not yet.
No. I mean, he can Nourish for Mana Crystals and Innervate Fandral, but I feel like that's a waste.
Yeah, this turn you definitely draw the cards.
Yeah, he's already ramped ahead of his opponent, and now he wants to draw cards because his hand was looking amazing. Now Fandral plays, they actually do exist a few of them. But, I mean, you've given some time for Control Warrior to ramp up. And Control Warrior, if given the right tools, can beat pretty much everything. It just doesn't always get that tools, and those mid-range decks punish it. It's not nearly as effective as it was against those aggressive decks as well.
So now you do have Wrath, which is a really nice pickup. You will be able to deal 4 damage, draw a card, and then you have Innervate as well. But Hero Power.
I mean, it's either Hero Power or Living Roots. Most likely Hero Power because it's more efficient. You can save Living Roots for the Violet Teacher as well. Fandral still presents a pretty big threat to your opponent.
It also baits removal. So you go with Fandral first, and you'll have Violet Teacher as a follow-up, like if your opponent deals with Fandral. And there's obviously a super easy way of just bash.
Now, this is a position that I don't exactly hate, though, from Fallen. I mean, if you look at some of the tools that he has, it's not exactly the most effective, but Berrigan does deal with tokens pretty well, especially Power of the Wild tokens. Creating 2/2s, very convenient lined up for Berrigan to snipe it.
It doesn't deal with double Power of the Wild tokens, which sometimes happens.
That is true. Nor does it deal with Yogg-Saron summoning Call of the Wild. I mean, you can kill the Huffer, that's about it.
True, but still, Warrior is in an okay position overall. I would have to assume there's double Brawl in the deck as well, so there are ways to deal with tokens overall, or just a big board.
Yeah. The Alex Strauss is also interesting. It is very retro. This does feel like some of the old versus the new coming together. In fact, I feel like that trend's happening all over Hearthstone. You look at the Jank Zoo that has Young Priestess and Argent Commander.
The new
that
Rogue.
6-0 used to win Starladder last week. The new Tempo Rogue that's bringing back some of those old elements that we saw back in the beta of Hearthstone. That's really cool to see some of the new cards mixing with the old ones, the very old ones that we have.
It's probably because the card pool is smaller right now, so people go back to those cards from the classic set.
Right,
and they're like,
reevaluate them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Fallen doesn't exactly have convenient removal for this Azure Drake. Could play Harrison to start having minions on board.
Yeah, Harrison is fine because against the Druid, you probably not use it ever. And at least here, it contests the Azure Drake.
Well, he's not. He could. The only scenario where I see Harrison is if Yogg gives you an upgrade, which actually does happen once in a while.
I kind of like Onyxia here. Oh, man.
Oh, I love Onyxia from this position.
Trade the 5/4, play Onyxia, be like, sure, roll if you want.
Or you can play Violet Teacher, Feral Rage, build up a slight board anyways. Maybe even if you Living Roots, if you want to encourage it, have the Brawl come out, then play Onyxia.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
It's one or the other, I think. Like, Onyxia now means that you use the 9 mana very efficiently.
Yeah. And also, like, I think it's just one card where if you go for Violet Teacher, you spend a lot of cards. And
that's true.
Let's say next turn you draw Power of the Wild, or like in 3 turns. You would like to have Violet Teacher with Power of the Wild, probably.
It's true. The thing that I do like about Onyxia play is if he doesn't have Brawl right now, that he kind of forces him to just respond to it very awkwardly, and you probably just win. I'm personally a fan of this play because it's like making sure that you put a lot of pressure on the board, and you're also maximizing the amount of pressure, like amount of damage that your Azure Drake can get to instead of just trading for a minion.
Sure.
So that's the reason why I like it too. This sort of encourages Brawl if you had it. In this case, Baron Geddon's actually pretty good.
Is it that good? It is. Yeah, it's actually good because you can kill the 3/5 as well.
Wait, you're taking revenge. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, Revenge doesn't do much here, I think.
So many.
You have Revenge and Brawl, so it feels like you can use Baron Geddon.
Geddon seems the best because you're taking 3 damage. You're actually taking 5 damage, so you can drop to 24. And there's the Azure Drake being on board versus your Geddon. But
You'd kill Azure Drake and not the Violet Teacher?
then I will kill Violet Teacher, for sure.
Okay. I guess, yeah, I'd just be afraid of the easy trade or the swipe, but I guess Violet Teacher is more threatening long term if he was able to remove it.
Especially after, like, if you have Geddon on board, if Geddon dies, if Druid is able to just reveal the board after that.
That is pretty close. I wouldn't hate killing the Azure Drake, though.
So many choices.
Just because, you know, the swipe is too efficient, and the fact that the 4 attack and challenge with 5 health. This rope thing, by the way, trips me out every single time I've seen it since the new patch.
And you also, you actually also have the Revenge and Roll, so you have ways to deal with the tokens.
That is nasty. And another 1/1 to boot. Why not? Raven Idol for spell. I think some of the best spells are like Force of Nature. Soul of the Forest?
Yeah,
That's sick.
Soul of the Forest is quite good versus Warrior.
Yeah, that's such good anti-brawl tech. And imagine if you land an Ixia in the sticks,
Yeah,
and then you can play Soul of the Forest.
That would be amazing.
You
So you do swipe this.
probably swipe this. Soul of the Forest now means that Baron Geddon can... Well, actually, hold on. How good is that?
Well, if you Soul of the Forest and you don't kill Geddon, Geddon can attack at your minions, maybe another bash or whatever, and you still lose your whole board.
Yeah. I mean, originally why you did this is to set up the swipe. So Alexstrasza in hand means that Chillmont is activated. And now this is where Soul of Forest is pretty silly.
It's okay. Definitely getting some to-dos is nice.
I think based off the way the Death Battle triggered the... Oh, man, what is going on here?
Can you actually play around Chillmont a bit?
That's a good question.
Well, still, like, you are getting some tokens from Soul of the Forest.
Sure.
So can you play all those cards here? Like Savage Roar into Power into Soul of the Forest, and you protect your, like Azure Drake doesn't
trade in the smaller tokens. I mean, he's also going on the assumption that in the event his opponent doesn't have a dragon, he might actually just win.
Yeah,
depending on like how the damage lines up. I think he could go 6 into Chillmaw and then 7, 11, 17. He'd be off by 1 if he didn't have it.
A really powerful turn. And you're not even losing Violet Teacher here.
Right. Okay. So, and this way he's maximizing his potential. He's only going to be able to attack with the Drake and the Violet Teacher, but still a really good position.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And you still have an Ixia next turn, and you're forcing a Brawl here. And even if the Brawl is actually being played, you still get some to-dos out of it.
You might even get a few more. Say like one of the 2/2s survive, and then you have 6 powers to hold the board.
Exactly. Oh, there's Ghoul as well. So much removal, but still, Druid is able to pull through and deal so much damage.
So, does he have to brawl? He can just revenge and leave 2 2/2s onto the board. It's close.
You can also, can you Ghoul maybe to deal with the Violet Teacher?
And then, I don't know.
Then Revenge?
I think because you don't kill the Azure Drake, so it's not exactly clean. So if you play the Ghoul, you might end up brawling, but that's not mana efficient. If you go for the Brawl, you can play Revenge and then armor up.
Yeah, that's probably better.
I think that's probably the best. But then you're playing Brawl and Revenge, man.
I know, right? But then, like, you've seen Violet Teacher being played, you've seen Phantom. There's only 2 cards.
If you Brawl, it's highly likely a 2/2 survives, and then you have 3 2/2s, and you're just like, oh, you're almost dead on the board.
But do you really expect an Ixia?
Yeah, this means he's just gonna Revenge. He's gonna Brawl?
He can stun first. Stun Azure Drake, yeah. And then Brawl, and it is dangerous now, but...
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, 4 power survives. Actually, in almost every scenario, 4 power survives.
True.
With 10 health.
So 6 more.
He did use a Savage Roar.
And now after that, can you go for an Ixia?
It feels like a Nixia is pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good dragon with a couple of whelps.
You don't get all the 1/1 whelps, but you're still summoning 12/12 of stats for 9 mana. It's fantastic.
But now you have the Tingmaster Overspark for an Ixia. After Revenge.
You have the Revenge and Tinkmaster Overspark. Except it might actually just do nothing. You still might die. Because if it was a 5/5, then he's at 6 health. It's close.
Well,
all right.
Still the play.
I don't know if you're in a position to try to. I mean, you could slam to fish, but then you almost guarantee die if it's a 5/5 double sword.
Yep. So we go for the squirrel, boys. Tankmaster of Spark changes a random minion on board, not over smart, into a 5/5 or a 1/1. And
this time for sure.
He will armor up as well, so even if it's a 5/5, he still survives.
That ain't way to live, though.
It's a 5/5.
No.
Still better than the 8/8.
8/5. Yeah, I guess. I mean, he's saying well played because he's feeling like he might die, but...
it's highly likely, actually.
Yeah, just needs to seem a little bit of extra damage here. Living Roots, swipe. Doesn't get it.
Doesn't get it.
Wild Growth can still cycle for it. And if not, he also can just Wrath and kill Tankmaster. Really good position for Crane at 3-0 here.
He might not be... Oh, there's a swipe, but no, not enough mana. It's still a really good position. Like, you put your opponent to 2, so with armor up, you know he's going up to 4, so you win with the swipe, but there is this Onyxia.
Yeah.
I mean, Alexstrasza to
Alex
get you up.
really clutch here. Imagine if he was able to slam with that too. The difference of 1 mana being able to have a nice clean board while drawing a card and having an 8/8 on board. And it's not exactly like Crane has the most life either. He's past the halfway point.
Well, he has to do something with Alexstrasza.
Yeah.
It's dangerous now suddenly.
5, 9. Is this a position you feel comfortable enough to Yogg? I don't think you have to because you have so many removal options. You can like Wrath.
Yeah, you Wrath
can
and trade.
play Emperor Thorsan, or you can play actually double token stuff.
Yep.
I like that too.
That's a really good board, and a 3/3 will not
Yeah.
kill you. But Thorsan is also nice, just to limit the cost of the minions in your hand.
The benefit of the double token thing is I think the bad side of it is I think he plays directly into like another Revenge, and he's like, you probably don't have many ways to single target execute, which he does.
But you know,
and all of a sudden, man, he's climbing back.
The Fallen is slowly climbing back from this position, and now Grommash as well. But
Grom actually puts him on a 2-turn clock. If he plays Grom right here,
I think you still play Karen. Yeah, you just want to develop the biggest possible board here.
What's wrong with playing Grom? That you get 3 damage to face, put him at 12, and then if he armors up, he's at 13. You have 13 power on board.
Mulch is the problem. And he actually got
I think Yogg is also a big problem, too. If he's able to kill off a minion, Crane doesn't look exactly the happiest right now.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually. Mass Dispo.
Or maybe he is happy.
He is.
Now Blood Warriors is relevant.
Well, with Yogg, you definitely expect to clear the board. And you actually clear card easily.
He silenced it and executed and buffed and drew cards.
The problem is that you have really few cards in your deck. So if you have too much draw, that will be troublesome. But this Yogg...
Wow. Give me that charge.
Oh. Holy fire. Which face? This...
he just basically canceled it out.
Yeah. More draw.
Too many cards.
That's 4 damage, actually.
All right. Well, I guess if Yogg's going to die at the end of the turn, you might as well cash in on something.
That's a lot of spells, by the way.
Full Blood, Flame Lance.
And that would be it.
He just cleared the board.
And drew cards. And this is what you expect from Yogg. You expect Yogg to draw cards and clear board.
Yeah, so...
he has initiative with Worthless in.
What was the secret that was played?
Counterspell.
Counterspell. Shout out to the DreamHack production crew, making sure that we can see secrets on the opponent's side with the overlay. That triggers me, man, whenever I see events not do that.
Yeah, overlay is great here. So we know almost everything. There is one card.
He's so afraid of Mirror Entity or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, please don't be Mirror Entity. If they execute it, if that's the case. Yeah.
So Grow on board, and he goes up to 14. His hand is not great, but it is activator and executes.
All right.
So can we deal with Grommash here easily?
We can mulch it, and then he can play. He can either choose for the teacher route, or he can. You could probably play Ancient of War as well.
I like keepers. I think Mire keepers to build up a board and then buff them next turn with power.
Okay.
And then you also have Mortal Strike.
As long as he did something to build the board, I wouldn't be unhappy with it.
And like, this is basically one of his last pushes.
Murloc Knight? What?
Well, it's a mulch. So, you know, you can get anything.
This is funny. Like, I haven't seen that card in a while, and it's actually like a lot worse because old Murkai is no longer available.
It
in
actually summons Murkai anyway. It's
Really?
Yeah, it summons old Murkai.
No way.
I think I've seen it a couple
Are you
times.
serious?
Yeah,
You're allowed
it's-
to get that?
Yeah, well...
That goes against
unless-
everything Standard's supposed to
Yeah,
represent.
I know, unless they fixed it. Like, but you could actually get old Murkai.
Okay, I'll trust you on that one. Names don't lie to me.
I hope it's not the case, but I've seen it in the beginning after it
Okay.
released.
All right, I'll believe you on this one. So he has 2 Ravaging Ghouls to clear off the 2/2s. You have to... I guess time's on your side in a sense, where like the longer the game goes, you can just win because your opponent's taking fatigue damage. But it doesn't feel exactly
Whoops.
most reliable. Counterspell, I mean, he was testing for a bunch of stuff like effigy first. You know, he had to eventually get this counterspell out of the way.
Yeah, it's also fine. Like, he's to keep this one execute for Engine of War because, like, this list is mostly known. So I don't like executing the free one here. We've seen one Savage Roar before. So if you're familiar with this list, you definitely keep execute for the bigger creature that comes.
Now 2 executes are used. Ancient of War almost basically impervious to whatever can be thrown at him from the warrior side.
Brawl, possibly, like a second
Brawl is a
deck.
possibility. That's what he's playing around. He's saying in case your Brawl is the one card you top deck, because he knows that that one card from Mulch is what he's holding.
And that's a
Brawl
Brawl.
it is, so he has to Brawl.
Yeah, and hope that one of the ghouls survive. Then
50-50. But even if the ghouls survive, how is he going to take down this army of tokens from the Violet Teacher afterwards? That's a lot.
second revenge, maybe?
Yeah.
That's not terrible. Definitely better for TheFallen than the 5/10 surviving. And now you cannot
You play
really play
Murloc Knight?
You can't, I think. You just armor up. Because you really want to get value from it, so if you just play it, it just dies to this free one and then hero power.
Yeah, it's a pretty good point. But at the same time, I think you wouldn't be mad if it traded into 3/1. It's tricky because you're definitely in survival mode here if you're Fallen.
Yeah, but if you armor up, you basically just take 1 damage from the free one.
Imagine how different... I don't know if it'd be really that much of a difference if one of his 3/3 survived. Sure, you'd get initiative, but with Swipe and Living Roots on the other side, I don't know if that would actually be the difference maker. Fallen's in a really tough spot here. I don't think he can win.
Yeah, Crane has a lot of damage in his hand. A lot of good cards as well, still.
Choose to go for it, so now Crane can just
kill him?
kill him. He's got enough damage straight up.
Yeah, that's basically it.
All right, so job well done here from Crane. He is also 3-0. Putting the complexity, boys, on top of the Swiss ladder here, and of course making Sottle a really happy man.
Definitely. But then it also shows the power of the Yogg-Saron Druid. We call it Yogg-Saron Druid, like Token Druid, but basically it's all about the Violet
Not
Teacher's
really
Fundrils.
Yogg-Saron Druid. It's so dishonest to say that it's like Yogg Druid, just because it has Yogg in it as a 1 card.
It's just a Token
It's got
Druid?
it's got tokens in it and a lot, so I like calling it Token Druid.
I wonder what Raven says about the deck. Like, is it Token, is the Yogg-Saron, or just like Living Roots Druid?
Yeah, I mean, or Living Roots Druid, definitely. No, like, a lot of people call it Yogg, but it is Token Druid. I actually do think that deck, if Yogg wasn't in the game and just magically disappeared, I think the deck could actually still be pretty good, because as you can see from a lot of the games, you don't actually always have to rely on Yogg to even win it. Yogg's just like an additional backup plan more than anything. As you know, we see the various combinations the deck can come out with, like just game winning in themselves, as we saw in some of the previous matches there.
It's the biggest flashy card, because...
Yeah,
like,
of course. It's very flashy to see it, but in Crane's case, it was kind of just like a Doom, you know, clear the board, draw cards.
It's okay.
But he got the job done. I mean, he played a secret, which is cool and all, but we'll see. Crane's joined us for a couple of words here. You want to say hi? What's up, Crane?
I'm good, man.
Getting entangled
I'll
there.
help you, I'll help you.
Yeah.
You're
There we
good?
go.
Okay.
Congratulations on the win. We actually missed the first game, I believe. How did that one go? We saw, obviously, you know, your Druid deck doing pretty well, as we can see, but what happened in game 1? If you can remember.
Yeah, he was playing, well, I don't know, maybe I should not reveal what he was playing to his benefit, like, since it wasn't a stream, but he was playing Shaman, and he kind of just didn't really have a very good draw, and I had a pretty decent one.
Gotcha.
So I just spaced out, like, my threats, didn't play into, you know, stuff that I didn't have to play into, and yeah, I won that pretty convincingly.
What do you think about the fact that you brought N'Zoth Paladin to the tournament?
I like it, man. He's doing something different. I would much rather be playing his decks, but I don't think the power level of those decks are quite where it's worth it.
So you like it because it's diversity, and also you like it because he played against you and you got the win.
Actually not just that, but you also get an edge from playing something that the opponents aren't planning around.
Right, exactly.
And even are used to playing against. Unfortunately for him, I'm pretty okay at playing against most things, so it's not such a big issue for me that he's playing those decks, but yeah.
What do you feel the power of Token Druid is? Like, a lot of players have said it's just the best deck at the moment. Do you agree with that, or do you just think it's just another strong deck?
I think it's another strong deck. I do think that Dragon Warrior is also quite disgusting, so I don't know. I wouldn't say that it was the best deck, but I think it's definitely tier 1.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
How did you end up with your lineup? Because like you're both, you and JJ are complexity, but then JJ brought something totally different. So did you guys practice together, or did you just like find different practice groups and said like, all right, I'm going with my thing?
We talked about the strategy together, and I was basically trying to convince him to turn to the dark side as me and just play the aggro decks and then Token Druid. So yeah, I felt like I'd been playing a lot of combo decks and it didn't
change
quite.
the pace.
Yeah, I mean I needed to change up. Didn't quite work out the last time, and I feel like the combo decks are not quite where I want them to be. So I have to like just admit it and play the strong decks. And I believe I don't need to be playing combo decks or something. I can pilot these decks
I
quite
think
decent
being
as well. So.
unpredictable is pretty important, though, to a large degree. Because a lot of this tournament, you're going to be playing against the general field, and if they can have any information advantage on you, like if you're a person that never plays Zoo and always plays Reno Lock, they can really take advantage of that, especially with bans and how they line up picks. Because in last year's standing, again, getting that first win is super crucial. So that kind of information definitely is important. So.
Yeah, and even on the other side there, where you prepare against the field you expect, right? As opposed to just, random decks popping out of nowhere that might not be top tier, but the fact that you've just not built your lineup to actually beat these kind of decks could be a problem in itself. But
Yeah,
no,
makes sense.
Any more questions, guys?
No more questions. Well played.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Crane. Congratulations on the win. You go 3-0 so far today. Plenty more games to go for the rest of the day, though. But we are just going to go to a break while we sort out the next round. So stick around, guys. We shouldn't be too long.